This is question number 4 on quiz 9 for module 11 on the module 12 on the cost of capital estimation. So this is a very standard question on the estimation of the cost of capital. We're provided with the total amount of debt, which also the setup also tells us this approximates the market value. And each year, this debt costs the company about 1.5 billion in interest expense. So we are also provided with the interest expense. With these two numbers, we can calculate the pre-tax cost of debt, which is simply the interest expense divided by the total amount of debt. But as we talk about in this module, what matters for the cost of debt is the after-tax cost of debt, because by borrowing and by paying the interest expense, the company can actually save taxes. So after we got the pre-tax cost of debt, we should multiply by 1 minus the marginal tax rate, which is provided here. And we're also given the market capitalization, which is basically the market value of equity and beta and the risk-free rate and market risk premium. So with this information, we can use the capital asset pricing model to estimate the cost of equity. So once we know the cost of debt and the cost of equity, we can combine these two to get the weighted average cost of capital. So that's the way we can solve this question. Rounding instructions do not round until your final answers. Round answers to 1 decimal place. So part A is estimate cost of debt capital. So this is in percentage term. So that means if we calculate this in our calculator or Excel, we actually need to keep 3 decimal places to correspond to this rounding requirement of round to 1 decimal place. So RD is interest expense. Interest expense is 1.5 billion. So it's 1.5 divided by the total amount of debt, 17.7. So this is pre-tax interest expense, and after that we need to multiply by 1 minus the tax rate, 35%. And again, we just need to format cells and use the percentage and keep 1 decimal place here. So it's 5.5%. Part B, what does a beta of 2.12 mean regarding the volatility of Sprint Nextel's stock price? So Sprint Nextel's stock price decreases faster than the market index. So basically this question is asking what's the meaning of beta? We know that beta is a measure of systematic risk. And systematic risk means that the responsiveness of a stock or asset, in this case it's a stock, to the movement of the market. So for example, if the market moves by 1%, how does the stock move? Does it move by 1%, 2%, 3%, or maybe doesn't move at all? So if it's more responsive, which means that the sensitivity of the stock's movement is higher to the movement of the market, then the beta is higher. So that's the meaning of beta. In this case, and for the average stock in the market, or for the market as a whole, so its relative movement to the market's movement to the market, obviously that's 1. So that means the average stock in the market has a beta of 1. So in this case, the stock has a beta of 2.12, which is higher than 1. So Sprint Nextel stock price decreases faster than the market index. That seems to be correct, actually, because this is a in terms of decreasing or increasing, the same. If the market decreases, then the stock should also decrease. That's what this positive here means. So because it's greater than absolute value is greater than 1, so it decreases faster than the market index. This actually is a correct answer. But we should probably read the other answers just to see whether, make sure that we got the right answer. Sprint Nextel's stock price follows the market index very closely, and that's not correct, as we said. Sprint Nextel's stock price decreases faster than the market index. This is also correct. I'm just so this is also correct. That also means because there's only one choice, so let's continue to read this. Sprint Nextel stock price tends to be volatile compared to the market index. So this basically summarizes both the first one and the third one, and by both directions. So this actually should be the correct answer. That's why I said earlier it's better to read all the choices because, yeah, both directions actually work. So C, estimate Sprint Nextel's cost of equity capital. In this case, we can use CAPM, capital asset pricing model, to do the estimation. So CAPM and RE is basically, we start from the risk-free rate, right? Risk-free rate is the 5.2% and plus beta 2.12 and times the market risk premium, which is 5.6%. And if this is market return, then we need to deduct the risk-free rate from this number to get the market risk premium. So this is my, I forgot to put equals sign there, and this is also in percentage. So let me use the percentage format and keep one decimal place. So 17.1%. And using your rounded answers from A and C above, estimate Sprint Nextel's weighted average cost of capital. So that means we should actually use this. This won't change the number, but we should use this, as we said, we should keep 3 decimal places because this is specifically ask us to use the rounded answer the following question. So now WACC, weighted average cost of capital, is simply the cost of debt times the weight on debt. So the weight on debt, it basically is the proportion of the total amount of debt to the sum of the total debt and the market capitalization, which is the market value of the equity. So it's 17.7 divided by 17.7 plus the market cap, 17.2. So this ratio, 17.7 divided by 7, sum of 17.7 plus and 17.2 is the weight on debt, on the cost of debt. So now let's get to the cost of equity, and then the weight on the cost of equity is the total amount of equity, or market value of the equity, which is 17.2 divided by the sum of the total amount of debt and the total amount of equity. So this is, again, let me format cell to use the percentage sign and keep one decimal place. So this is 11.2. So now let me check my answer. Okay, we got all the parts correct.